Howdy, folks! It's Sam. We're back on the weekly review. It's not going to be that exciting. Here we go. All right, so let's take a look at the first section real quick. Just wanted to point out this black box here. This black box represents the need to always check if you have a fresh battery in your camera. Moving on to the last section. All right, so let's start from here. And as always, everything that you hear me say, none of it is meant to be hurtful. None of it is meant to malign anybody. This is this is purely meant to help us all get better together and give you guys extra tools to do art for the glory of God. So here we go. We're going to take a look at the last song because it has all four cameras going. And here we go. All right. So first off, this shot of Mary up here on the left, great shot. She's filling much of the frame. She's in that third. We have people in the background taking up that negative space. Let's talk about this one on the bottom left here. We could definitely zoom in a little bit here and have Tim filling more of the frame. He's not doing much there, though. In fact, he's doing nothing. So anything we can do to find more movement from somebody, and if not, pick somebody who's doing something. At this moment, I am the only one playing right now. So that means typically that should mean that if there's only one person doing anything, all the cameras should probably be on them. Or find somebody that's like nodding along or trying to keep the beat, just some sort of movement. But rarely, at least on our teams, is the worship leader only doing something. So let's keep moving here. Yeah, so, I mean, I guess that was the beginning of the song, so I should probably take some of that back. But Mary is always a great one to catch because she's always doing something and she's almost always being expressive about it. Tim is not a mover and shaker, but he is a mover, or a interest, because he's usually doing something. Right here. So let's take a look at this shot real quick. And the main issue with this shot is that he's kind of towards the center, which means that there's negative space over here and there's negative space over here. To avoid that, we would want to push in more or move to an angle where there's less negative space in it. So maybe get a shot from the other side, or this looks like it was done from the stage left side, and you pretty much would just want to zoom in a little bit more, and especially since Tim isn't being super expressive, maybe zoom in down here on the bass and his hands a little bit closer, and maybe a medium shot. Maybe something like, nope, that's not what we want. Maybe something a little closer to this. So one hand, his left hand is in the upper right. Maybe something a little bit closer to that. That's not an awesome shot either. if you could get to your left a little bit more, but I'm guessing whoever was on the camera there was probably right up against the congregation, and we don't want to step on anybody or sit on anybody. So that said, we want a little bit closer, and we want a little bit more front on facing for this shot. Let's go back to the multicam here so we can see what's going on. Let's go a little fast. All right, so the main shot here too is there's a little bit of negative space here. Maybe move me over to the right just a little bit. Maybe move the camera to its left a little bit, and then you would still have Tim kind of in the background filling negative space, and me filling more of the negative space over here, so it feels a little less empty and negative there. I like this shot here. The palm is a little bit in the way, and there's a little bit of negative space here, but I think that's totally fine because of the break here. There's less it looks like there's less negative space. If it were just the wall, that would be a ton of negative space. The only critique here would be moving to the left a little bit to get him more face on, so we can see maybe a little bit more of his face. Maybe I think the palm is just bugging me, and it probably shouldn't. So we'll keep going here. Speed it up a little bit. All right, so again, we want to put our people in a little bit more of the third. We have Kelsey in the center here, and that's it makes for a less interesting shot. I would move Kelsey maybe more like that, because we can see Kelsey isn't playing an instrument, and so all of her expression, all of the interest in this shot is going to be her, because she's the one in focus, and her eye is just out of the third, but the center of her body is in that third, and that really makes for a more interesting shot. We can see as we and then yeah, this would be the shot that I would be looking for. I mean, we got Mary and James in the back filling up all that negative space with the palm in the back, and there's just very little negative space happening behind her, and that's what I would be looking for. Oh shoot, I messed something up. I don't know what it was, but oh no, you know what? Nope, we're just gonna do that. All right, let's take a look at multicam again. Keep moving. All right, so one thing I want to mention too is this camera has been on David for a long time. And not that we don't like David, but we want to switch around a little bit more, especially if you're going to be essentially we have a worship leader camera and two interest cameras. So two other shots that are supposed to be grabbing things that are interesting to look at. And we obviously want to take time to capture things that are happening, but we also don't want to linger too long, because if we linger too long, it'll feel like we are we don't want it to feel too much like a stationary camera that's just there. And then when I go back to something else, if I don't have another choice, I have to go back to that choice. So when you're on the stage left side, so if you're facing the stage, is on your right. If you're on the right side of the room facing the stage, you're going to want to be kind of getting everyone on the left, like the closer to the left side, because they're going to give you better looking room, and you won't have to, and you'll be able to get the more interesting shots. Getting the drums on this side is a little bit difficult with the palm there. Usually you can get a decent shot, but if the palm's in the way, we might want to just kind of find something else to shoot at. All right. I remember this. I love this shot right here of James playing. Those are the kind of close-up shots we want. I think I used it quite a bit. Yeah. I even used the wiggle in there because I like that shot. So, and again, we don't need to linger on this too long, but having it there is awesome. It creates interest. We can see what they're doing. We can see the music being made. Whoo, man. I need my voice to get back in shape. All right. And so this shot right here of Kelsey, this has been sitting here for a long time, and even now, the camera shot has moved her over to the left even more, and she's almost in the third on the left here. The problem with this shot is that it just creates so much tension when the subject is looking, and there is more space behind them than there is in front of them. And if we were shooting like a movie scene or a television scene where we needed to create tension, this is the kind of shot you would want. You'd just want some tension to build there. You want them to feel that. But we're in the middle of singing music and worship to Jesus, and we don't want to create tension. We want to create interest, and we want people to be immersed in the worship as best they can on an online service. So this just creates so much tension that we don't want, and it interrupts what we're shooting for. All right, let's take a look at this shot up here on the left here of Josh. So one thing, like this is a pretty decent shot. What I would do to improve it would be almost, so if we could get more of his guitar in there and then give him a little bit of a haircut and get no, this one isn't, this wouldn't be bad either. We want him filling the frame, so he's in this third here, but if we could see a little bit more of his guitar and have him fill in the frame a little bit more, that would be great. That said, I'm being nitpicky here. overall, this shot's pretty good. All right. Let's take a look at this shot here real quick. I love this shot, with the exception of the headstock right in front of David's face. Otherwise, this shot is beautifully composed. It just looks like the bass guitar is pretending that David is in witness protection. So, yeah, if we could, like, moving over just a little bit to get more, to get David's face in there would be helpful. And, yeah, of course, as soon as I say that, like, his face goes right in there. So, and, yeah. But then, yeah. And the just overall, and that headstock feels a little bit like it's like trying to boop his nose. But yeah, otherwise I love this shot. Like, moving over to your right just a tiny bit to make sure his face stays stays not covered. This shadow over here with the palm looks awesome. I love it. Oh, okay. Like I said, Mary is always awesome to capture. And this shot, congratulations. I don't think you can get a better shot than this. Mary is such an authentic worshiper, and you are catching her in an authentic moment. There is almost zero negative space here, which is beautiful and wonderful. So whoever got this shot, congratulations. You get a cookie. I used Kelsey there, though. Oh. I used Mary there. So, yeah. So we're back to this. This is a little bit better than before because we're zoomed in a little bit more. Let's take a look at here. So if we could get him just a little bit closer and move him right here, and we can, yeah, we could do just a little bit of a haircut on him, and that'd be good for this shot. Catching him singing along, I love that kind of stuff. That's that. This is a great shot too. I don't know who caught this one. Yeah, whoever the top left camera is, did a really good job at capturing that. All right, let's take a look at the main shots for Chris here. Good job getting dead center. Whoever was on worship leader camera.
It's a partial Jesus, all that kind of stuff. I don't want to give you a second sermon now. Be more like the real Jesus.
All right, so let's take a look at what we got here for the final shot with Chris and the benediction here. So, like I said with Kelsey earlier, this shot right here is creating a lot of tension, and we want him over here in this area a little bit better, and we probably want him more of a straight on shot. Right now we're almost at a 90-degree angle. We want to be closer to 45-degree angle towards him, and nope, that is not what I want. That's frustrating. All right, so we want him probably closer to here. And when it comes to giving haircuts, we probably don't want to do that necessarily when we're doing the end shots. Hi, Ellie. But yeah, I would. We definitely want him on this side because this is just creating tension, unneeded tension, and that's why I ended up using a lot of that shot. This shot I used because there's a little bit more negative space taken up. I would have liked it to be and this is the same thing that I said about this one over here. It'd be great if it was a little bit more straight on, like at a 45-degree angle, so we can see more of his face. And well, it looks like you moved. Whoever did that saw what was going on and they moved. So that's great. Good job, this camera. So yeah, on this shot, we're gonna take a look here again at this shot. There's still he's just a little bit too far to the center. We want him to be a little bit closer to the third here, this third. So probably if we can get close to the middle of his body there. Right now his back is just kind of touching it. We want a little bit more there, and if you can get some of that would make the shot that much better. And then I think that's it. Yeah. So honestly, you guys are doing a great job, and this is me trying to make our end product better. So when, like I said at the front end here, none of this is meant to be hurtful. This is all about us getting better together, so that when we work together, we create something that is reaching out to people. This is our ministry, and you might be thinking, all I'm doing is running a camera, but what you're actually doing is providing a window into a church for maybe somebody who's never heard the gospel of Jesus before. And that is super duper important, whether you realize it or not. So I am honored to work with all of you guys, and I love working with you guys. So yeah, thank you guys so much, and we'll see you on Tuesday.